Next up on the number one tee.
Well, hello and welcome back to your virtual tea time. My name is Tori, and today we have quite the episode. We have Abby Liebenthal with us from Fore the Ladies podcast, founder and president of Fore the Ladies. How you doing, Abby?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good.
I feel like the last time we did this, I was thinking about it, is like last January, because I had you on as like my Welcome to the New Year podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's been a little bit over a year, but now the tables are turned. You're on my podcast, and I'm so happy. It's long overdue. And actually, to the audience, we were hoping to do it in person. And then I finally just messaged you and I was like, you know what? Let's just do a Zoom. Let's deal with it. And then we can always do it again next time we're together.
That's great. And like we'll play. So it'll be much more fun.
Oh yeah. We can make all sorts of content. So let's hear the back end though of this, the backstory of Fore the Ladies, how you got into it, how you got into golf in general. Tell us how this started.
So I started playing golf when I was pretty young. I was probably like 6 years old. And my dad and mom just encouraged me to get into like junior golf classes. I grew up going to a country club in the summer, and by the time I could hit golf clubs, it was time to start playing golf. So I've always played leisurely. I didn't play college golf. I played on my high school team, and I've just stuck with it. Whether it's playing, I work in the game, which probably has like kept me playing as well. And so, yeah, golf has just always been part of my life, whether it's personal or my work, now my nonprofit. So it's always been with me.
How long have you been with the USGA? Because that sounds like a lot of fun.
I have always worked in golf, like I said, and I started, my work career at the American Junior Golf Association. And then from there, I was kind of hooked. Like I did an internship with them and I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to be working in golf. Mm-hmm. And so I've always stayed with like marketing and communications. And from there, I worked for the Tiger Woods Foundation, as well as Titleist, Imperial, and now I'm at the USGA. And I started at the USGA in February of 2020, which, as you can imagine, was kind of crazy because I was in the office for like 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I haven't been back in the office full time since because I moved to Pinehurst, North Carolina. And so I'm in a golf mecca, which is great. And the USGA is opening its second headquarters here.
Oh, they are. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
How is it living in Pinehurst? Because it's, for those who don't know, how long is the drive from Raleigh, Durham? Like 45 minutes, is it?
It's more. It's like hour 10.
Okay. Yeah. So to me, because I've only been there once when I was there last year, it was kind of like, this is in the middle of nowhere. Is that true? Or what's it like living in Pinehurst?
No, you're not wrong. It is absolutely in the middle of nowhere. But they have just built this like amazing community of people. There's Pinehurst and there's Southern Pines. So there's like these two towns that are right next to each other. I am an outsider. So I always think of it as like we live in Sleepy Hollow of like Gilmore Girls.
I did not watch Gilmore Girls, so I don't know that reference, but okay.
It's like any small town vibes that you're getting. Like you're watching a sitcom and they are in this small town where everyone knows everyone. And like, that's the vibe. And
you just moved there when? 2021?
Yeah. And I just really like it. I think it's one of those things where, I used to live in, for example, like Washington, D.C., and there were like a million events for me to choose from, a million restaurants. And now I'm like, well, no, this is like the festival going on this weekend and I'm going to go to that. Yeah. And like, it just, I don't know, maybe I've just slowed down, but I really like it. And of course, I love all the golf that's around me.
Now, what does your husband do? Because again, it's a small town. So does he work in golf too? Or what is he up to?
Yeah, he works for Titleist. And he works in a role where he kind of recruits amateur golfers to play Titleist equipment. And you can imagine when I worked at Titleist. And so we are just this little golf couple.
I love it. And do you enjoy playing with each other? Do you guys get competitive with each other?
We play with each other all the time. I think maybe it's just like, I don't have really a competitive bone in my body when it comes to sports. So I think we just like like, I'm always asking like, hey, can we look at my swing? What is like the strategy play I should move with here? Because like I didn't play college golf and I don't feel like I don't focus enough on that side of the game. So it's fun to like be able to bounce that stuff off of him. Yeah.
One last Pinehurst question here. How because so you've lived there. Last year, the women's U.S. Open was at Pine Needles, right? Was that last year? So how does that town come alive during those huge events? I mean, because again, small town. Where does everyone go? I mean, I don't even get it.
That's like the funny thing to think about for the 2024 men's US Open at Pinehurst. Well, I'm like, where does everyone stay?
Like, does Rory need to stay at my house? Does he need to stay in our guest room?
Yeah, we have a 2-bed, 2-bath. He's more than welcome. So I would say, yes, everybody really rallies behind. I mean, there's never a problem with like the volunteer program, right? So like people are really excited and very welcoming. I would also add, Pinehurst number 6 hosts the U.S. Adaptive Open. And I felt like Pinehurst really wrapped its arms around that championship as well. So I think even if you don't play golf, like, you know what golf is, you know how important it is. We call it the home of American golf. So I think people just like, they really get it.
Yeah, I still have more questions. I didn't know this was going to be a deep dive into Pinehurst, but I just know, I mean, and I've been there once. And I still find it a mystery over there. So I can't even imagine one of the listeners never being there. So let's get some of these questions going. So the U.S. Open, the men's U.S. Open will be there next year. Do you know what courses they're going to play? Do they play only one course or do they switch?
Yeah, good question. They only play course number 2.
And the other course that's very popular is course number 4, though, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And have they done majors on that course?
So no professional major championships, but the U.S. Amateur was competed there. And for that event, I think I wasn't at the USGA yet, but they used both courses for that championship because the US amateur field is huge, right? You have like a lot of people playing in stroke play to get to the bracket for match play. And so they typically need 2 courses just to accommodate that many people.
Last year, I had Thomas T as my caddy. Well, he wasn't my caddy.
Oh, amazing.
To be my caddy, but he was in my group each time. So if you're ever going to visit, he's very popular, but ask for Thomas T. He is the best. For someone coming to visit, how many courses are there at Pinehurst?
9 and the Cradle.
The Cradle and the putting course. This will do so much fun. And I'm one that's like, I don't like putting contests or, like short courses. Those were so much fun. We had a blast.
Yeah, I love the Cradle for sure. My Brendan is his name. I don't need to keep calling him my husband. He and I played the Cradle 2 nights ago, and like we just whipped around like 5:30 to 6:15, and like it's just enough. It was great.
Yeah, and you had a little cocktail or a little beverage, and talk to some people and boom, done. I mean,
saw hole in one. Sheila made sure I had my Tito's and lemonade. Like I was set for life.
Well, let's have this be a good segue into your event there at Pinehurst. So you called it Lily, correct? And that's right. At least the second year you've had it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
This was the 3rd year.
Yeah. So how did that start?
I have been fortunate enough to go on some really fun golf trips. And one of those it's called The Ringer, and Zach Blair, PGA Tour player, hosts it. And I went simply because of a job I was working in, and we were a supporter of the event. And I was the only girl that showed up that was at the event. It was like a field of 84 people, maybe. Mm-hmm. And this was back in like 2018, I think, 2019. And I was like, this is really fun. And everybody was really nice to me and super welcoming. But like, I would have loved to have a companion or 2. Yeah. So I was like, okay, like, you like put that in the back of your mind and you're like, I'll come back to that another day. Yeah. And then during the pandemic, I ended up coming down to Pinehurst at some point, and met a few amazing women that work for the resort. And at one point we were just like chatting, and I was like, I've always had this dream of wanting to like host a golf trip with a bunch of my friends. And originally it was just going to be me and 7 friends. And we were like, we're going to do this trip. They were going to, they allowed us to stay in Dornick Cottage, and it was beautiful. It was going to be a great trip. And they were like, well, what do you think would happen if we like opened it up and we allowed other people to like come on this trip? And I was like, I mean, we can try. I'd never done anything like that.
This is like the Pinehurst staff saying that to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love that.
And they were like, what if we open it up? Yeah. And I'm like, well, let's open it up. Let's see what we can get. And so at this point, I had hosted For the Ladies events. Like For the Ladies had kicked off. I've probably hosted a bunch of like intro to golf events. We probably hosted one playing event, never had tried a trip. And I was like, let's just do it. So we open it up and it sells out really quickly. And we even had a group from Baltimore Country Club join us. So I was like, this is just like crazy. Like, let's just see how this goes. And, we came up with the Lily because Lillian is Donald Ross's daughter. So paying homage to her, and just put together this fun event. And, you learn a lot, as you learn a lot the first time you run an event versus today. And I learned a lot that first year about like amount of people I felt I could help. And just like the format, things that like we felt we needed to do, things we didn't need to do moving forward. And so Pinehurst, like they were the first ones to really take a chance on me and For the Ladies. And we've done some other fun trips since then, but love to, always have that on the calendar as kind of a staple.
Your third year was this year. And I remember messaging you because, you're building hype about it. You're saying, okay, it's opening up for registration, whatever date it was. And I messaged you. I'm like, I'm going to come. I even messaged Thomas. I'm like, Thomas, are you in town on this date? I want you to be my caddy. I don't know if we're even using caddies, and so I was like all ready to go. And then the day came, and I think I must have just like wasn't paying attention right in the morning, because by the time I logged in the afternoon, boom, it was sold out. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, no, thanks. I mean, we do keep it to a smaller size, and that's just based on like the accommodations at Pinehurst and what we're able to do and what we feel is feasible. But this year we had 40. The first year we had 68, and I was like, this is a lot of people.
Wow, yeah.
So, and I mean, with the shootout, like there's so many women, you're trying to accommodate everyone. Like, and so it's been fun to kind of just figure out what works. And that event is just so special and fun to like continue to have.
Well, let's back up a little bit. Let's talk about For the Ladies events. So the intro to golf events that you hold, how did For the Ladies just in general get started?
You obviously at this point know, like I've worked in golf, I've played it myself. I'm pretty leisurely in my game. But growing up, I didn't have any girlfriends that played golf. I had like people who I played golf with, and we would do junior camps together, but I never felt like it was like a community by any means. And in 2019, I was like, I'm just going to try it. And so I was working at Titleist at the time. How great the Titleist staff is and how many like PGA professionals they have on their staff. Like they just like know their stuff and they really want to help. Yeah. So I had asked a few of the PGA professionals that work at Titleist if they would help me just like put on a clinic. And so we did it at an indoor simulator called Newport Indoor Golf. And I was like, I just like set up this format. I was like, we're going to set up a few stations at each bay. We'll tell people who are like very, very beginner, have never held a golf club, to go to this station first so that they can learn the fundamentals. And it was just to like dip your toe in and see if you even like golf, because at that point I had felt like there were so many great opportunities for juniors to get into the game, like girls golf, junior camps, youth on course, like you name it, right? First tee. And then there's opportunities for women who maybe just have the means or belong to a country club. But there's a void certainly for young professionals who want to learn how to play golf. And so this is who it was targeted for. I was like, let's just try it and see what happens. That day, I was like, it'll be like 24 people, like 60 to 70 people show up. And I was like, oh, well, maybe we have something here. This is this is fun. And so it's just kind of snowballed from there. I was going to locations where I had friends, a place to stay. And since then, we've hosted a ton of golf clinics. And I would say we attract people who are brand new to the game, to people who are just looking for a community of women who play golf in their city. Anyone's welcome to Fore the Ladies events, male, female, doesn't matter. But it's all, at the end of the day, our mission is to encourage more female participation in the game.
Yeah. And what does it look like? What's your lineup look like for this year, the 2023 season? Is it 2020?
Yeah. So
wow, I just started questioning what year it was. Where are we? So what is your lineup look like for the summer?
Yeah, we are hosting, so far we have 70 events on the calendar for 2023. And that ranges from like golf clinics, like the one I just described, to happy hour 9 events where you come and play 9 holes after work, as well as like a meetup. So sometimes like we just set up a meetup at a simulator where you can come, hit some shots, meet other people in your area who play golf. And at the end of the day, like I just want people to have golf clubs in their hands and meet other people who also want to have golf clubs in their hands. Yeah. And however you want to play it is okay by me. You know, I think that I want to be able to offer wherever you are in your golf journey. If you're just picking it up and you want to learn, you want to be around other people who want to learn, maybe you're ready to take the next step and play. But you're not like, you just want to get out on the golf course and play 9 holes. We're going to try to offer that as well. And then at, the very end of the spectrum for me and for the ladies are the golf trips. Is I'm going to invest my time and money and go on a golf trip and do that. So that's what we're doing right now. I'm sure it'll continue to evolve, but it's cool.
Okay, so I'm going to digress a little bit because I love the business aspect of it. And instead of just talking about golf, like how is the business side of it going? Do you have a team? How much 70 events? I mean, you put that up on your Instagram not too long ago, the whole lineup, and this is across the country. Okay. You're touching base on so many different geographical areas and you're executing these events. It's so impressive. So how are you doing this? Tell me about, and how is this not your full-time job, or is it? Am I speaking out of turn by saying it's not, or what's going on? Fill us in.
No,
fill the business lovers in that are listening, because we love the back end of it.
Yeah, no, totally. So no, this is not my full-time job. I work on it from 6 to 8 a.m. and I work on it from 5 to 10 p.m. Like that's just how it is. And so if, you try to set up a meeting with me, I'm like, yeah, I can meet you at noon or I can meet you after 5. Yeah. And so that's how it's been. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, and our mission is to encourage female participation in the game. And I would say it's been a really big learning lesson. Like I've had some like big fails.
Mm-hmm. As we all have.
Yes, I take them way too personally. And thank goodness for Brendan, who's like, you need to chill, like you're a human. But so to take a step back, I was going to every event when I started. I was like, we're only hosting on Saturdays and Sundays because I'm traveling to this event and I'm micromanaging every minute of it. Yep. And so Sure. And so I quickly learned there's a difference between the golf trips where I'm like, I want to provide a really good experience because people are spending a lot of time and money to come out here. Then there's also the golf clinics and the happy hour 9s. Like when you think about it in the business sense, it's 2 hours. Mm-hmm. So for me to spend the money to fly somewhere and stay the night so I can show up for 2 hours and go home, it's just not worth it. Yeah. So what I've tried to change is, if we are to host a For the Ladies event, you reach out to us or we want to come to you, we identify that there is going to be a For the Ladies volunteer there. So that is how we've been able to scale. We have For the Ladies volunteers across the nation who raise their hand, and most of the volunteers are inbound saying like, I really want to help. I want to be at an event and make sure everybody feels welcome and execute. So from the business side, I am setting up all the events, having those conversations with golf courses, and then working with the volunteer to make sure they feel super comfortable the day they show up and are welcoming people, checking people in, making sure the rotations happen on time, like all that good stuff. But yeah, so at the end of the day, it is just me. I do have a great resource in a woman who helps me with like QuickBooks and things that I don't know how to do.
Or probably don't even want to know how to do. Like,
I know that's half of it.
Do it. Yeah.
And she's been great too. You know, she'll say like, hey, you know, you probably need to set this as your pricing to make sure you're covering all your bases. And as you know, like there's so many things we pay for behind the scenes, like insurance. Mm-hmm. And taxes and all the things that you just don't realize until you're like, we need to set this up and make this a formal business. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it is a lot of work. It's amazing to get when you get positive feedback. And I'm sure you know this too. Like it feels so good when somebody says like this, being able to come to this and enjoy golf in a different way has like changed my life, or it's made me feel more confident. And like, how great is that? Like it's a labor of love, but I hope I can continue to do it and, hopefully do more of it.
Is the big picture having it scale and grow and then this becomes full time, or do you not want to talk about that? Or
I think most people would like realize that you want something at this point. I want something to be big enough where whether it's an organization like really wants to pick it up, or I can just continue to do it. The hard part is like you said a little bit earlier, like you have a really fun job at the USGA. And I'm like, I know. Yeah. And like, it is an amazing job and it's a really fun organization. Mike Wan is amazing. And I think that the direction he's taken the organization in and making sure people feel really good about what they do and understand what the USGA stands for is amazing. So for now, Fore the Ladies is great. It's a fun passion project. I don't have kids, so like I can do it and we'll see.
Well, that's brilliant that you brought on volunteers to host the events across the country. That's absolutely brilliant. Do you have like a set outline that all of them follow, so it's really clear cut and, you know, precise on what's going on at each event?
Yeah. And I think that's something I actually learned from the American Junior Golf Association. Mm-hmm. When I was an intern there, like you get a full binder of like checklists. Like this is all the stuff you got to get done before this tournament goes on. And I'm like, I feel like I maybe have learned a thing or two from that. Cause like now I'm that person. So I think that's what really taught me like right away is just to like always have like instructions to make sure like if I got into an accident tomorrow, God forbid, or like something happened, like people could continue to do this.
So tell the audience something that they might not know about Fore the Ladies behind the scenes. Like, is there anything that's going on that you'd want, you know, your listener, your client to know?
It's super interesting because I know it's in staying with like the business side. Mm-hmm. I think everybody thinks that like, oh, like you must be just like making so much money and like doing, you know, all that in your face. And you're like, well, you know, there's a balance between I want to make sure, and as part of our mission, that women can get into these events. Like I want it to be affordable and accessible. And in order to do that, you have to keep events at a certain price point because you want to be able to welcome anyone, maybe somebody who doesn't even have golf clubs, but they can afford to come to this event. Yeah. So I think that's a little bit of it. And so, you know, not to like pitch myself, but like anytime people are willing to support in like a monetary way is like seriously helpful for being able to continue to do it. And then aside from that, I would say what most people don't know. I mean, just like a really fun random story to share. Yesterday, we had our Happy Hour 9 event in New Orleans, and LPGA Tour player Gemma Dryberg, she had noticed that we had hosted a golf clinic in the area a few months ago. And she was like, let me know the next time you're in New Orleans. And I was like, I will. Yeah. And so I Instagram and I was just like, hey, we're coming back. Like, would you want to play in this Happy Hour 9 event we're hosting? And she's like, yeah, sign me up. And I was shocked. Like, I was like, we'll see if she actually shows up. And she did. She played yesterday with 3 women who are brand new to the game. One of the girls messaged me and she was like, that was the most amazing thing ever. The first time I played golf was at the golf clinic. I've continued to take lessons, and this was my first time playing 9 holes. And I did it with an LPGA Tour player. Like,
she's going to play golf forever now. Because that's
Right?
our first experience. I mean, what a magical experience that group had to have her there.
Seriously crazy. And like, good on Gemma. Like, I warned her, I was like, hey, like, everybody's really leisure. You might get somebody who's playing golf, like playing holes on a golf course for the very first time. She's like, it's fine. And I just thought that was so impressive. Like, and good on, you know, her, but also just the LPGA in general. Like, it just gave me a totally different view of the people who are competing on that tour.
Going back to planning these events. So what's a percentage of going to actual golf courses, ranges outside, and then going to indoor facilities?
Yeah, I've really shifted the amount of outdoor events to being a majority of it. I just think that the experience of going to a golf course and getting comfortable with that is so key. Indoor golf facilities are so fun. Like, they're entertainment. It's great when, you know, for a lot of the places we go to, they're not playing golf outside January to April. So it's a great option, and would never want to like refuse to host an event somewhere because all there is an indoor place. But those to me have become a better fit for some things like our meetups or more just like community building events with some instruction. But if I want somebody to really continue playing the game and going from the range to the course, it's so much easier if they're just at a golf course that first time.
And what's your experience been like talking to golf courses? Would you say overall they are very welcoming, or have you learned some lessons that way too? Like, where it's, you know, it's expensive. So at least it is in Arizona. And I know that Arizona is one of the top states as far as how expensive it is to get on the golf course. So how has your experience been finding courses that will facilitate something like this? So
I would say when most people ask, like, what's your criteria? A lot of the time I say we really only host at public courses, because if a person comes to our event, I want them to feel like they can go back. Yeah. You don't want to learn golf at a country club that perhaps is private and you can't come as a guest every day. Yeah. Whereas if you learn at a public golf course, you can come back, hit range balls, do what you need to do. And that also makes somebody who's new to the sport feel comfortable and coming back. So that was just something I felt like I kind of learned from the top. I would also say I'm hopeful that golf courses have learned, like, I know what I'm talking about. I would say when I first started Fore the Ladies, and I was, I don't know, a few years younger, so maybe the confidence level wasn't there, but I was like, I truly do know what I'm talking about. I promise. I understand that there are practice facilities and there are driving ranges and we're not actually using your golf course. It was just at the beginning very, very funny to have conversations, and eventually I would never try to drop my full-time job, but at some point I would just be like, well, I work at Titleist and I know what golf looks like, I promise. So I hope that, it's been easier. I mean, obviously the more you host events, more golf courses learn about you, and it's a much easier conversation. But at the beginning, I mean, it was comical. Yeah.
So let's walk through one of the events. The intro to golf events. What does it look like as a visitor? Someone that's first hearing about this for the first time. What can they expect from start to finish?
So when you sign up for the Ladies event, we'll always email you at least a day in advance and tell you what to wear, what to bring, how, if you have a tee time, you technically should show up before the tee time. So if we're starting at 2, you should probably arrive at 1:45 at the latest, and just trying to teach people, these are the things in golf that you will need to know if you want to continue to play. Mm-hmm. So what to wear. At public golf courses, there's more flexibility. So we can say you can wear leggings, you can wear a crew neck t-shirt, But certainly if a golf course tells us like, hey, we have a dress code, like we share that. Mm-hmm. So that's all before you even get on site. When you arrive on site, there's a For the Ladies volunteer who is standing there ready to check you in. And if not a volunteer, then it's because the course is like, hey, we're super comfortable. We're happy to host. Oh. So they'll check people, which is good. There's plenty of courses that are like more than happy to do that. Mm-hmm. We wait for everybody. We do a quick welcome. And then we typically divide the group based on a bit of experience level. And it's funny to me because women tend to consider themselves like one tier down from what they actually are. Yeah. So a lot of people that I have come in contact with will say, well, I'm a real beginner. And I'm like, okay, well, how many times have you played on a golf course? And they're like, well, like 6 times. I'm like, then you're not brand new. Like you've played a little bit of golf. So like, we're going to put you in like the intermediate group. So it really just depends. And we do try to change, our language a little bit. When you register for an event, you'll select not like beginner, intermediate, advanced. You actually choose like, I've been to a driving range. I have never picked up a golf club before. I played golf maybe once a month. I've played golf once a year. That's kind of how we divide it up in kind of our own language.
Yeah. That's
and then and that's really just, and then that will differ for a different type of event. Like, do you have a handicap? And that's later in the journey. Okay. So we divide the group into 3 groups. You'll rotate through 3 different stations every 30 minutes. And that typically includes putting and then chipping and short game, full swing fundamentals. We like to let everybody rip a driver just because it's fun too.
Yeah. So we gotta.
Right. And then that's really it. And that's the thing is like these events fly by. And I think that's something that, golf courses are continuing to also realize is like, it's really fun because the women are so excited and they want to learn and it flies by really quick.
So 2 hours. Yeah. Right? And no food. Like you don't even bring food into the equation.
Not really. And
I like that.
Yeah.
Making life a lot simpler and less expensive.
And right back to that, it's like we want to keep it affordable. We do typically include like one beverage. So whether that's like soda or a beer, wine, or seltzer, because hey, if you want that, we're all for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's it really with the golf clinics. And then happy hour 9s, those are, you just show up and you play 9 holes. And you can play, we provide a card that teaches you how to play a scramble if that's what you want to do. If you want to play your own ball, that's cool too. So
how many people at the events?
For the golf clinics, we go up to like 48. That's like the most we can really do. For the happy hour. Yeah. For the happy hour 9s, it ranges. We've done everything from like 24 to 36. And that's really just because if we're not starting till 5:30, you got to get 9 in.
So how do you deal with instructors? Or is it, who's teaching the clinics? Is it usually whoever's at that club?
Exactly. Yeah. And that was a learning from COVID, honestly. Before COVID, most courses were just like, if you have volunteers, they can come. And then golf blew up. And courses were like, hey, we want to use our own instruction staff. I'm like, that's fine. It makes my life a lot easier.
Are you already thinking about 2024?
We do have pretty much all of our trips booked for next year, which is exciting. I'm sure you know that too.
So yeah. Is there anything you want to tease to the audience of something maybe exciting coming up in 2024? I mean, you don't have to spell it out, but maybe something that they can get excited for and make sure they get on your email list so that they're the first to know?
So we already announced Ireland. So we're going to Ireland in 24, which is exciting.
So exciting.
But aside from that, I guess I'll share, we are going out of the country again one more time in 24.
Well, let's share about Ireland since that's out there. What do you know? What courses off the top of your head that you're going to?
For Ireland, it is potential golf. Kind of just depends if people get in at Doonbeg, and then Lahinch, Tralee, Ballybunion, Dukes, Waterville, and Old Head. You've done an Ireland trip, right?
Oh yeah. And I've played, we're going to be at Dukes this next September, but all those other courses other than Tralee, I've played. Oh my God, you're going to have such an amazing time. And actually, Tralee is one of the ones that I tried to get onto this September too. And it was just the timing that we were going, the course was closed or something. So you'll have to fill me in how much I've heard only good things.
Oh, amazing. I know. I'm excited. Should be good.
This is quite a venture. Are you thinking family yet with Brendan, or are you okay the way things are for a while? So I gotta ask the question. I know it's such a lame question for females, but I don't know.
No, it like totally changes your changes your life.
Yeah.
So as an example, which is like on such a smaller scale, but like last year, having a full-time job, planning like the wedding and doing the wedding and doing For the Ladies, I was like, this is getting a little out of control. Mm-hmm. And so I think like that's just always the question I have to ask myself. I was listening, I know this is silly and it is what it is, but like I think I was listening to like some influencer who were like, right. And then like, but she was talking about how every opportunity is always exciting, but it's more work. And so you have to consider, is that opportunity still like worth your time and energy, even if it sounds amazing? And so anytime now that I'm broached with like an opportunity, I like really have to think about it and say like, okay, like how much time is this going to take? Or how much just like mental space is it going to take up in my brain? Yeah. How is it going to affect my life with my husband and my family and just, having time to be able to spend with them. And so I think like that's kind of how I am trying to approach a lot of things moving forward, is just like, yes, opportunities are amazing and they're going to help grow the business. And like, that's awesome. But like, you still got to take care of yourself. Yeah.
I needed to hear that today because I had a bunch of ideas this morning and I had a couple opportunities come my way recently. And yeah, it is tough, or you do get excited about it. You do, like, my first instinct is to say like, yes, because it's exciting, because I want to do it. Because again, like you just said, it grows the business. It is a content opportunity on top of that too. So it's not only exciting, but it's making content on a daily basis can sometimes become stale, or, you got to switch it up every once in a while. So just hearing that, like just that simple, like every exciting opportunity is also bringing you more work. Like, are you ready to take that on? Like, you don't even, I don't even think about the work in the back end sometimes, but it's very important to think like that.
We're both passionate people, and like, we both like want to do a good job, and we want to be proud of what we put into the universe. Mm-hmm. And I think that like that sometimes prevents us from being able to think about all the things that are coming at you, and like, how do you just like manage them effectively? And it's okay to say no. Okay,
let's go through some quick fire questions about your events, and we can keep answers quick too. Just, maybe answer some of the frequently asked questions that you probably get on a daily basis. Okay, so when do you know you're ready to sign up for an event? So to go through each of your levels too.
Sure. So for a golf clinic, you're ready at any time, whether you've picked up a golf club or not. For a happy hour 9, I would say you've been to a golf clinic, you've been to the driving range, but you're ready to kind of take that next step. Or you play regularly and you just want to meet other golfers in your area. For the golf trips, you've played golf. Like, you have played on the golf course for at least a year, probably 2. You understand what pace of play means, and you are comfortable with playing more than 18 holes in a day.
Do they have to have a handicap index for any of the events? Oh, no. Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
Do you do any competitions, like at the Lily, for instance? No competition.
No.
Just out to play.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would drive me crazy.
I know. I'm like, this is where Tori and I, this is where her and I like split off into our different little like areas. But I will say, I really do want to play in one of your events, because like I'm a 10 handicap, like I'd be okay. Like I'd survive.
More than okay, you'd be.
So I'm like, I really need to sign up. My goal for this year, which was a bit inspired by you, is to play at least in like one formal competition this year. Yeah. And so for me, on my calendar circled is just like our club championship.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I like digressed.
No, that's
completely.
Okay. I'm going to follow up with you though. I'm going to be like, okay, so did you sign up for that club championship yet?
I have the sign up date in my calendar. Nice. I'm ready.
Okay. How about age? What age is appropriate or in your events?
Sure. So our minimum age is 21, and that's just because we serve alcohol at our events. Max, I don't care.
Yeah.
So, and we get a huge range.
Yeah, I would think so. So we've already kind of gone over ability. How about price ranges? What are the price ranges for each of the events?
Yep. So golf clinics, you're going to see anywhere, I would say, between 50 to 80, just dependent on the venue. Happy hour nines, probably the same, honestly. A little cheaper, let's say 40 to 70. And then the golf trips, certainly it's a multi-day event, accommodations, multiple rounds of golf, food and beverage, gifts. That's going to be, it'll start at, I would say, at like 2,200.
And when should a participant, is there only gifts and prizes at that top-notch level, or is there some things going on at the clinics too? Yeah,
so we have a wonderful partner in Titleist. So you're going to get a sleeve of Titleist golf balls at every event. FootJoy this year has provided everybody with some fun socks at every event. And then, of course, we've got things like Fore Ladies koozies and stickers. So you're always going to go home with a little something.
And what if you, don't have a friend to go with? Can you sign up as a single? Is it okay showing up alone? That seems like that's, overwhelming. What do you think?
Pretty interesting. I would say at every level, we get a ton of people who show up alone. And that's because they're seeking people to meet and grow their community of golfers, which I think one is super impressive. I always try to do something with a friend, but like that has been so inspiring to see people come on their own. And it is way more common than you think for people to show up alone, especially to the happy hour nines. A lot of them will say, pair me up. So it's great. Golf trips, honestly, the same thing. I would probably say like 60 to 70% of people do come with at least one friend, but otherwise it's singles.
And that's the same with my events too. There's more singles than you would think. And also think of the mind of a single player that's signing up. They want to meet people. They want to get out there and meet new friends, and they're okay going in that environment, being alone. So embrace them, talk to them, and know that all the other single players out there are just like that. Just you gotta take them in sometimes. We already kind of covered food. So at your smaller events, there's no food, which I love. I got to be honest. I love it. It's like so simple, but it's like, Ashley, we got to stop doing food. No, I'm used to tournaments, events, always having food. And you know what? Maybe we just don't need food anymore. Maybe it's okay kind of going to the bar, going to the restaurant on our own after. And that's fine.
Yeah, I would. And a ton of people stick around, especially with honestly, both the clinics and the happy hour nines. Like people stick around, they get an extra drink. Most of the time, one drink comes included. But people, you're at the golf course. You want to have another bev and watch people come in. Okay, so that covers. Is there any other question that you get asked a lot that you want to answer that I might not have said? Oh, a lot of people ask, do I need to bring my own golf clubs? For the clinics, no. We will have sets on hand because we understand if you're brand new, you're not ready to invest. Yeah. For the happy hour nines, yes, you really should have golf clubs. But if you and your friends sign up together and you're going to split your set, fine. I don't care. You can always call the golf course too and rent a set. So it's never mandatory, but I say if you have a set, you should bring it because that's the equipment you're going to use when you play. Well, Abby, thank you for being on. Thanks for filling us in from behind the scenes because again, I love talking about golf, but
but we're in the business. And sometimes I just like talking on the business side too. So it's really inspiring and I appreciate all you're doing. I know how much work it is. Like, I cannot believe you're getting done early morning, late nights. You are an animal.
It's one of those times where sometimes you feel like you're the hamster on the wheel and other times you are just allowing yourself to enjoy it. So got to have a mix of both.
I'd say that's like content creation and social media. You know, sometimes you feel like it's behind you. Sometimes you feel like you're going against it. That's just how it is.
Well, thank you for all your support. Thanks for letting me come and talk about it. It's fun to do that.
All the links to all your events, all the For the Ladies events and the podcast will be in the show notes. So check that out. Make sure to follow Abby on Instagram, and you're on TikTok too now, I saw, which I love. Any other places that we can really get a lot of For the Ladies content?
No, Instagram and TikTok are good.
I know, that's enough, right? That's only
enough
places. All right, Abby, stay on the line. Thank you everyone for listening today, and we appreciate you.